What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the 3829 podcast, man. If you don't know by now, I am your host, Trey. Now, before we jump into it, make sure you hit that like, that comment, and that subscribe button. Now, before we actually officially jump into the episode, if you are new, you can go ahead and fast forward a couple of seconds. But to our returning viewers, man, I know me and Ice made a promise to y'all a few videos back when we were covering the WNBA, and we said we would not be having any more extended breaks, and we have broke that promise to you guys. To kind of give y'all a little bit of context, it's just been really hard with scheduling and everything. Been trying to get, Don and Ice on the pod. Obviously, y'all seen Pops had joined us on the pod, but schedules have just been really conflicting recently. But I want to stay true to our word, the best I can, and I'm going to continue to try to pump out as much solo content as I can until our schedules can realign. Nothing going on behind the scenes, anything bad. It's strictly just schedules not aligning. But with that being said, we can go ahead and jump into the video. Okay, man. So the Los Angeles Clippers have said farewell to Chris Paul on his farewell tour. It came at 2:40 Eastern time this morning. It is currently midnight Eastern time as I am recording this video. I did wait till the Clippers played their first game without Chris Paul. I also have been tuning into the different sources and seeing what the news coverage has been about this. Some people say that they did Chris Paul a favor. Some people say, they did him wrong. Some people say that Chris Paul could have been part of the problems in the locker room. And them, granted, they were playing a very, very weak, not weak at all. They still had some hoopers on their squad, but a very short-handed Atlanta Hawks team. As we know that they are missing Trae Young, they are missing Kristaps Porzingis, and then in this game they were missing Jalen Johnson as well. So, when the Clippers do see James Harden, my bad. When the Clippers do see James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Ivica Zubac all on the floor, you expect to get a win, especially when, the other team's top three guys aren't on the floor. So they did get a very convincing win tonight. At times, it looked like, they could have possibly started to let it slip away from them, but they stayed on top of it and they were able to break away and, finally break that 5-game losing streak that they were on. Now, me personally, how do I feel about them releasing Chris Paul? I don't agree with the decision. Again, I've seen sources saying that they've done him a favor, but the biggest favor would have been to not pick him up in the offseason to begin with. You brought in every single player you brought in was old. John Collins was considered your young guy that you brought in this offseason, and he's having the worst season of his career. Yes, statistically, his rookie season was worse, but it was his rookie season. He has some upside. This is where he's supposed to be entering his prime. He's supposed to be peaking at this time. He has the worst season of his career. That's why this is worse than his rookie season, because there's no upside to this. This is just bad. And then you pick up Brook Lopez, a 37-year-old, who's also having the worst season of his career. You picked up Bradley Beal, a 32-year-old, who is also having the worst season of his career, and his season's already over. You pick up Chris Paul, 40 years old, and now you're releasing him 21 games into the season. Kawhi Leonard's only played 12 games for you this season. Has he played well in those games? Yes. But availability is the best ability. You're paying him $50 million a year, and you're one of the worst teams in the West. Now, during the time of me researching, they were tied for the second to worst seed in the West. And as you probably already know, because many sources are covering it, the Thunder have the Clippers' first round pick unprotected. So even if it goes first overall, it's going to the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are probably going to repeat. I know I said that I did not think that they could, but sitting how they are sitting right now, especially without having J-Dub majority of the season so far, and he's just now returning, and at the point of his return, they only had one loss. It's hard to say that they're not going to repeat. Get what I'm saying? So I just really find it funny that a few years ago we were saying that James Harden was ruining the NBA, and now we're practically begging him to save the NBA right now. And he is doing his, listen, James Harden is doing his damnedest to save the NBA. The whole fate of the league is in his hands right now, and he understands the assignment and he is trying his best. But I mean, you pick up Bradley Beal, which I don't know why you did that. I don't know why teams joined together and decided, let's save the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns were in the worst situation ever, and I've already spoken on this. But why did these teams band together? And it seems like they literally just came together to save the Phoenix Suns. Because you pick up Bradley Beal, and now he's out for the whole season. And I'll be honest, even in Bradley Beal's prime, those was empty stats. This is since the 90-91 season, Bradley Beal is the only player to ever average 30 points and his team not make the playoffs. And I'll be honest, even when he averaged 30 points and they made the 8th seed, that's still terrible. There's only ever been one other player to average 30 points and only make the 8th seed, and that was Tracy McGrady. Bradley Beal is not Tracy McGrady. I'll let you know that right now. Honestly, everybody else that ever has averaged 30 is in a whole nother tier than Bradley Beal. Like, if you put Russell Westbrook on those Wizards teams, they're making it to the playoffs. And I know that he did eventually end up on those Wizard teams, but I'm saying take Bradley Beal off and put Westbrook right there. Just completely swap them. And Westbrook is taking the Wizards teams to at least the 4th, 5th seed. James Harden's getting them to at least the 4th or 5th seed. Probably even the 3rd. But we acted like Bradley Beal going to the Suns was going to be the greatest thing ever. And then people who thought that he was going to come to the Clippers and do something, like, what are we doing? And then y'all let Norman Powell go to the Heat, and he's been balling. Now, again, it is very possible that the Clippers turn it around. There's still plenty of time in this season, but from what we've seen so far, the NBA, the whole fan base is very desperate. And we are relying on Kawhi and James Harden. And let's be honest, the Kawhi era in Los Angeles has not been great. Yes, he got him to the Western Conference semis once. Yes, he got him to the Western Conference finals once. But since then, he missed the playoffs 1 year and 3 first-round exits. 3 first-round exits. Now, I'm sure that you guys have heard this millions of times, but like, one, you trade Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and multiple first-round picks for Paul George. That doesn't work out for you. That's okay, because most of the league genuinely thought it would. But when you knew that you were no longer going to have Paul George, why not try to at least sign and trade something? Why let him walk for nothing? You get what I'm saying? And then, like, what they're going through right now, it's not necessarily 100% their fault, because who expects literally every acquisition that you get to fall off a cliff in the same year? Now, did they make the smartest investments? No. Like I said, they brought in everybody old. Even their rookies are old. Why are your rookies 22, 23, and 24 years old? I'll wait. Like, if you can answer me that question. Like, I get it. Your roster's old, so you clearly in a win now situation, but 23 and 24-year-old rookies, bro? What is we doing? What is we doing? I mean, shit. I might as well throw my... No disrespect to them. Obviously, they got better talent than me. But realistically, like, that is what you have Chris Paul for, is to mentor the youth. You get what I'm saying? Mentor the youth. Everybody in there was damn near 30 plus. Everybody in the locker room was damn near 30 plus. Like, what do you need Chris Paul for when you have 15 mentors on your squad? Like, I just want to say, man, I hope that this is not the last stop on Chris Paul's, in his career. I hope he is able to join another team and show how great his basketball mind is once again. Obviously we've seen what he was able to do in helping Shai Gilgeous-Alexander become the player he is today. As much as I cannot stand Shai, I will always credit Chris Paul for being able to teach him how to unlock this level that he has reached. I don't think that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander would be the player he is today without the help of Chris Paul in that single year that he spent with him in Oklahoma City. Understand that it was literally a singular year that he spent with him. It had such a large impact on his career, and I do believe that Chris Paul has one more of those in his bag. I feel like there's a team that is on the precipice that needs, you know, that mentor in a locker room, and I really don't know who it is to say it off the top of my mind. I honestly could not tell you who the team is, but I feel like there's a team that point guard needs a little bit developing, and they're just like right there. And Chris Paul's gonna be able to help them make a little playoff push without even performing on the court, just literally being that locker room guy. And that is honestly my hope for him. But with that being said, man, I ain't gonna bore y'all with telling y'all more stuff about the Clippers that y'all already done heard a million times at this point. It's just really sad to see that this is the way that the Clippers decided to handle the Chris Paul situation. Like I said, they said that they're not blaming it on him, but I mean, it's kind of hard not to feel like they're blaming their struggles on Chris Paul one way or another. Like if they continue to lose, I mean, they just continue to lose and they look terrible. But if they are able to turn it around from this point, it does look like they're blaming Chris Paul. And the look will be that he was the cause if they are able to turn it around. But like I said, hopefully this isn't the last stop on his farewell tour, and he does get, you know, the full farewell tour that he does deserve for a historical career that he has had. And with that being said, man, I'm gonna go ahead and get to the outro. All right, y'all, that's gonna wrap it up for this video, man. If y'all did enjoy it, make sure you hit that like, that comment, and that subscribe button. Be sure to share it with a friend that you think would enjoy the content, man. And like I said, man, I'm gonna keep trying to bang out these solo videos until we can get these schedules coordinated properly. I am keeping an eye on that Buck situation. I'm gonna do a little bit more research, possibly record a video on that tomorrow for you guys. I do know that Giannis ended up leaving the game early and did not return, so I'm gonna do a little bit of research, do a little bit of, you know, tap, and then I'm gonna catch y'all in the next one. All right, y'all.